I think the hardest thing about a business owner perspective, really anyone who's going through imposter syndrome or just in the negative mindset, you still do have to show up. And sometimes it's okay to be like realistic and talk about it. But for the most part, you have to really show people like who you are and be a positive light. And sometimes I feel like people are positive lights when they're the most down.
We're Sahara and Michaela, co-founders of Refine Marketing.
From corporate 9-to-5s to building and scaling multiple million-dollar companies in less than 5 years, we're not afraid to get into the nitty-gritty.
Giving you a raw and real look at what it takes to build and sustain a business.
This is Rise and Refine.
Good morning. Happy Monday.
Happy Monday, everyone. Welcome back to the Rise and Refine podcast.
Yes.
we're in the midst of holiday season and just the busyness of it. And so we wanted to touch on a topic today that we know everybody goes through, but it can be kind of a touchy topic.
It's touchy? I didn't realize that.
I feel like it can be a little touchy because the reason for imposter syndrome, that's what we're talking about. The reason for imposter syndrome is because you don't have you're struggling with your self-worth.
Really?
And like your confidence.
Okay. I think there's two things to it. Yes. But I would say I have confidence in business, but it still hits me sometimes. So maybe I need to go therapy and see if I'm still struggling deep down. But yeah, we're talking about imposter syndrome. So I wanted to start with looking up the definition for those maybe who don't know.
Ooh, yes.
Let's see what Google tells us about like the imposter syndrome definition.
And as she's doing that too, I feel like, we are in a holiday season. Busyness is here. We are going 10 to nothing pretty much right now, like burning the candle at both ends. I know that a lot of our followers are doing the same. And I feel like imposter syndrome during this period is so normal because you see everybody doing the absolute most during this season. And it's like, well, am I not doing enough? Should I be doing a Black Friday sale? Should I not be doing a Black Friday sale? Like, am I prepped ready to go for 2025?
Yes.
Yeah. And I feel like all those questions start to really flood in. So I feel like this is the perfect time to do this kind of episode.
Perfect. Okay. You ready for the definition?
Ready.
Okay. So it says imposter syndrome is a psychological experience where someone feels like they are a fraud despite evidence of their success. It is characterized by self-doubt, fear of being exposed, anxiety, depression, negative self-talk. Ooh.
Woo, okay.
So there's a definition.
Dive into that.
I think whether you're a business owner or not, you're in a leadership position, really, even if you're just working for somebody, I think anybody can experience imposter syndrome. When do you think the height of it hits?
Gosh, I mean, when we first started Refined, imposter syndrome lived with me in my day to day.
Yeah.
So I feel like it hits at different parts of your business. I'd say when we first got started, I definitely was slammed with imposter syndrome. I think whenever you go to do something that's maybe new or scary, that's when imposter syndrome is going to hit for you. Or maybe you're doing something that you've done for a while, but you feel just kind of like caught in a cycle of mundane,
why is it not growing?
Well, maybe it's just like you haven't really switched anything up in a while and the consistency is mundane. And so you're like, okay, should I be doing something else? Should I not? Even though it's working for you, and even though you're selling your product or you're selling your service and you're gaining new followers or you're gaining new clients. But I feel like sometimes even when something is good, it can be masked by the fear of not doing enough.
It hits for me in two different situations when I notice it comes. One is when I start goal planning and I have a really big goal and I'm like, no, I can't make that happen. Yeah. So it always hits me at that point. Or two, if I'm stuck in that, like you just talked about, that consistent of we're not growing, things are the same, but I'm still working so hard, but nothing's growing because it hasn't hit yet. But then I see other people growing. I'm like, what am I doing wrong? So that's the second time it hits for me. Yeah. So, but I don't know if it's something even if somebody had the most confidence in the world, I would say it's not something that would just go away 100%.
Oh, I don't think it ever goes away. I think maybe you just get more mentally tough to where you don't let your emotions you don't let your emotions control your actions.
Yes. Yes.
And I think that's kind of really where this episode is probably going to go is you do have to be mentally tough. And I think you have to have a backbone.
Mhm.
And the more you grow in your business, I mean, even to be a business owner, entrepreneur in general, like you have to have a little bit of a backbone.
Yes.
Like you're going to
you have to have thick skin.
shit is going to get thrown at you and you have to be able to take it. And you have to be
Yes.
able to take it with grace and humility and learn from it and be open to growing from it. But I think the biggest thing is, having that backbone, taking it with a grain of salt and learning to know that you are not alone in this, that you're not reinventing the wheel. Somebody has been there and done this. And at the end of the day, you can learn from them, but it will be okay.
Yeah, you just got to get through it. So we kind of talked about what imposter syndrome is and how everybody, I feel like, experience it. I want to talk about like some tips to get out of it too. Right.
Okay.
Because I feel like it can put you in a really negative mindset. And I've seen imposter syndrome really get people down.
So
like
what is
for a long time?
Before we dive into that though, what does imposter syndrome look like for you? Because I feel like it takes on different forms for everybody.
I think for me, it kind of creates a lot of noise in my mind.
That's good. Yeah, like silencing the noise almost.
No, it adds more.
Oh, it adds. Oh, that makes sense. It adds more noise.
Yes. I wish it silenced. But for me, it's like there's another, it's in movies, The Devil and the Angel.
Yeah.
Okay. For me, I call imposter syndrome the little devil that's in my mind. And it's a version of me that does lack like no confidence and lacks like not believing in herself. And that's not me because that's not my normal personality.
Right.
So imagine it as the little devil Sahara that's in my brain saying negative stuff to me and adding more noise as I'm trying to fight through it to listen to who I truly am. That's the way I would explain it.
Okay.
How would you explain it?
Very similar. I just don't have the picture of the angel and the devil popping into my head when that happens. No, for me, it's more so I get stuck in like the comparison route.
Yes.
So it's not necessarily that I don't think I can achieve a goal or I don't think I can, like, I don't think that we can hit like our revenue goal for next year. It's more so like, yes, immediate, like when we set those goals, I had those initial doubts, but now it's just like, no, that's our goal. Like I'm gonna bust my butt to achieve that. And every single day I'm going to do that one thing, like get 1% better to achieve that. But when it comes to imposter syndrome, for me, a lot of the times it's with comparison.
Yeah.
Like, am I doing enough on social media? Am I posting enough to stories?
Yes.
Like, seeing other creators that are in the brand design, web design field and being like, my content is not nearly as good as that. Like, how are they doing these long form, educational videos? I don't have the equipment for that. Like, do I need to go buy this equipment? Like,
how do they have the time to do that?
Exactly.
What am I doing wrong? Am I wasting time here? And you just go down a rabbit hole.
And then you get stuck in like that rabbit hole to where you become less productive.
Yes.
And that's my biggest thing, I think, is just kind of getting stuck in that comparison route. But then also too, when I'm designing for a new brand, I'm like, am I even good enough for this? Like, am I cut out for this? Like,
you could be doing it for 10 years and you're still going to ask yourself that randomly. And it always hits at the most random time.
And I have to understand too, like my brain it's very creative. And sometimes I have to just spit out the 1,000 bad ideas before I land on the one good one.
Yeah.
And so during those 1,000 bad ideas, that's when the imposter syndrome strikes.
You're like, am I ever going to get it?
Yes.
And you keep seeing
and
the
like,
bad
what
stuff.
if I don't get it?
Yes.
Like, are we going to have to drop this client? Like, those are the thoughts that I get. It hits when you're depleted, like when you're not equipped for it, or maybe there's a challenge that you're already facing and that's when it hits.
Yes.
I feel like it never hits when you're on the ball, you're organized, you're sticking to your calendar, and you're
when
like
you're the
doing
most
all the right
confident,
things. Yeah.
And you can easily squash it.
Yeah.
It's like it knows when to jump in. Our minds are weird.
Yeah,
it's like literally it knows, here's my opening. Let's do this.
I'm going to take her down.
Yeah.
Okay, back to your original question.
Yes, but getting out of it. So I want to talk about that too. So I think like imposter syndrome, like people can really let it get them down really, really bad. And it's almost, sometimes I can mix the two between imposter syndrome and burnout.
Yeah,
It's weird, right?
that's
They're
true.
almost the same feeling, but for different reasons. So imposter syndrome to me can almost create burnout.
Okay.
And you can be in it for a little bit longer, because then if you're like, stay in that negative mindset, what's going to happen is you're going to be like, well, I don't want to work. This is a waste of time. I'm going to
Yeah.
go do something else that makes me happy. And it's going to distract you from working on what you need to.
Yeah.
So for me, the way that I get out of it is, one, I do take a small break from just working and breathing.
Mm-hmm.
And I like to go spend time with Maeve.
Yeah.
Just because it puts me in such a positive mindset.
Right.
But doing something that's not work related, that's extremely positive for me, or I'll go like getting a facial or just going to get coffee or just reading, but doing something actually opposite of what you should be, which is working, just because I need that positive like reinforcement that's not about work. Because then it takes my mind out of thinking about work.
Yeah.
And the negative stuff I was thinking about. So then when I come back to work, it's almost like I forgot I was there. Does that make sense?
It does. So
Okay.
you almost have to take an action.
Yes.
Whereas I guess I also have to take an action in a certain way, but like you're physically going and doing something.
Yes. I'm distracting my mind.
Okay.
Is what I'm doing.
So with me, because I did have a past where I would let myself sit in that, and I would just let it spew and spew and spew. So if I just took an action, it would just bury it for me and make it worse.
Really?
So
see, my mind can focus on next action, focus on Maeve, come back and be like, wait, why was I even thinking that?
Okay.
Isn't that weird?
That is odd. Okay.
But everybody's different. This is why we talk about this.
Yes. Okay, this is so intriguing to me. Okay. So for me, I have to actually talk through it.
Like
So-
talk to yourself.
No. So, well, kind of like when I notice that a thought is happening, say, I am not worthy of having this business today. I can't get any designs right. I'm really struggling. I will either text you or I will call Casey,
Like
my
you'll
mom,
talk it
my
out with
sister,
somebody.
Christina. Yeah.
Because you need validation.
I need the validation and I need somebody to kind of like talk me off a ledge in a sense.
Yeah.
But also talking through those, when I talk through them, I try not to actually give those thoughts a leg to stand on. And what I mean by that is like, when I call Christina and I'm like, hey, I am really tempted.
Mm-hmm.
I'm tempted to feel X, Y, and Z.
Yes.
I'm not saying I feel like this because
You
that
feel
means
it coming on.
I'm giving it life.
Yes.
I'm only tempted to feel this way because I don't want those thoughts to stick around.
Yeah.
And so when I say those things, like I, one, try not to give it life, but then two, I talk through it and really just try to find like the root of that.
Yeah.
Is it, okay, I'm spending too much time scrolling, or do I need to switch up my projects and maybe pause on this project for a second and then go work on a different one?
Yes.
Or maybe it is going out and going for a walk or clearing my head in whatever nature it might be, finding a different creative outlet.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's more so actually
Like talking
working
it out.
and talking
See,
through
that's
it.
so opposite. If I talked it out, it'd make me feel worse.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. Because I'd rather like, it's just like for me, just a mind shift real quick. I just have to like go think about something positive, just get my mind focused on that, and then come back. I'm like, I don't even know why I was thinking those things. I'm not like a talk it out person. I'm more of a get through it, focus something else, and come back.
See, I'm like a processor. So it's like I have to be able to know why I thought those thoughts in order to know how to put up a fence against them the next time I have them. That's very interesting that we're two polar opposites. Well, y'all are getting way polar opposites when it
probably
comes to
the unrelatable side.
No,
Most people like talking things out.
well, not necessarily. Some people just don't want to be that in touch with their emotion. Well, you already said like you're more analytical. You don't like the emotional side, whereas I am a not numbers oriented whatsoever. If Sahara was not here with Refined, we would be broke. So there's that. But no, I'm just emotionally driven, and like I just think that's the way my brain works.
I think I don't like to waste time on things that like aren't relevant. Like if I'm mad at somebody for something small, like why waste more time on talking it out? Like I'm over it. I'm good. Like I can easily get over things.
But that's such a good skill to have. Like
I don't know. Maybe
I aspire
it's
to be like that.
It could not be. What if I had like this bubble of all this stuff I pushed down that I just
Well,
burst
no, because I think
away.
like the whole thing about having a backbone, like
Yes.
you have a pretty dang firm backbone when it
Yeah,
comes to
it's
stuff. You don't let people rattle you.
no, because I'm like, why would I let that person rattle me when it's like a waste of my time? You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? Like, I'm gonna move on to something else. So I'm very much like move on to the next thing.
Yeah, and I think this is where I'm less mature than
It's not a mature thing. I've also been in sales and business, so I've
That's
developed
true.
the thick
You've been in it a
skin.
lot longer.
Yes, I always say like when you get into sales or business, your skin is like very, very like thin. Like you don't have that backbone yet.
Exactly.
You have to learn. And that's something you can't just get. That's something that comes from experience and time.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, it's not something you could fix within 6 months. It's going to be more of a time thing. And so you have to slowly just gain experience and go through things. When I was like younger and first got in business, everything bothered me.
Mhm.
I would very much act on my emotions. And
Yeah.
I was probably more similar to you in some ways. I'm not saying you would even change to the way I am now. It's just that it's different phases of life and business.
Right.
And I think you have to learn lessons and you do have to gain experience.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the experience is the biggest part because there's certain things that, and we've talked about this prior, but there's certain things that when we first started Refined bother the crap out of me. Like when we
Yes.
wouldn't get a client or when a project wasn't going the way that I wanted it to within the first week of us getting that
your
client,
imposter syndrome, then it's like not getting client. You immediately go to, well, why? What did I do?
Yes.
And now I think you don't get client, like whatever.
Yeah. It's like, all right, well, flip that card over onto the next.
Yes,
Like,
literally.
yeah.
Like it doesn't even phase us anymore.
Exactly. So I think that the experience and time definitely is just that's necessary for growth. That's
Yes.
necessary for
Yeah.
beating imposter syndrome, sticking through it, the consistency and the discipline in it. But I mean, also for me too, something that is huge is putting good in.
Yes.
Because we've talked about this, the analogy of the sponge, what
Yes.
you put in, you're going to squeeze out.
Yes.
And so like if you're constantly feeding, I heard this the other day and I'm going to use it because I was like, wow, that is so very true.
Yes.
Like we are constantly in a fight with a good guy and a bad guy.
The
Like
devil and the angel.
Yeah, very much so.
Thank you.
But whichever one we feed,
Yes. Yeah.
like if we're feeding the bad guy
Yeah.
with the negative, the negative, that's who's going to win for that day.
Yes. 1,000%.
And so I heard that yesterday and I was like, oh, so, on Tuesday when I had my little mental breakdown about all the things and I was like, this isn't going right. I need to fix this. My attitude towards this is crap. And like, da 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 da. I straight up had a little mini meltdown, had a
That's
good
okay.
cry and screamed and did my thing. And I was like, all right, I feel better. I felt it. And now I'm going to be able to move on. But I let
Did you physically actually scream?
Oh, I did. I was like, when I tell you I had a mini meltdown, I was on the struggle bus.
Oh my
I was
gosh.
feeling the weight of just feeling so overwhelmed.
Yeah.
Because we have so much that we want to do.
Yeah.
And in that moment, I just felt the imposter syndrome. I felt inadequate.
Yeah.
And I was like, my capacity is being stretched.
Yes.
I literally feel myself growing right now.
Yeah.
And I either fall into a pit of despair and
Yeah.
just get stuck in it,
Yeah.
or I let myself have a temper tantrum, which literally was a temper tantrum
That's so
for
funny.
5 minutes. And then I do something productive.
Yeah.
And that productivity that I did was literally sweeping my porch. Because I was like, I can't look or do anything with my computer right now.
Yeah. It's amazing what just going outside will do.
Yeah.
But it is a big thing. It's like everybody processes imposter syndrome different. But I also want to preference this with like, no matter if someone has been like, if they could be look like the most confident person in the world and they could have been in business for 50 years, you could think, oh, they've got it all. They don't experience the things I do. I think that everybody does.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody experiences the highs and lows, no matter where they're at in life or where they're at in business.
Yeah.
So I think sometimes what can really trigger imposter syndrome is looking at other people being like, well, I don't think they have to go through what I do. They probably don't have to, they
It's the
probably
comparison
know
game.
they're great.
Yeah.
Yes. And that can really trigger and bring it on fast.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, there's a lot with it. And I think business owners are more susceptible, like entrepreneurs are more
Yeah.
susceptible to it because you are constantly putting yourself outside your comfort zone.
Yes.
And with that comes a certain level of vulnerability that you have to have with yourself, but also with so many other people. Like if you have social media, like you have to get on there and talk about your business, your life, whether you
Even
like
if
it
you're
or
not feeling it.
yes.
You have to keep up with it.
Gosh, yes. And in those lull moments, it's like, okay, even just taking that one step in your business, whether that's posting a story, actually posting a reel or a carousel, or maybe it's doing something to better your business in terms of maybe you're investing in something or I don't know, working on a project that you've put on the back burner, you know, whatever
you still
it
have
might
to
be.
show
Like,
up.
but doing that one piece of action, getting that 1% better in your business will change the world. Like it doesn't take a whole lot.
Yes. I think the hardest thing about a business owner perspective, really anyone who's going through imposter syndrome or just in the negative mindset, you still do have to show up.
Yeah.
And so for me, that's like, well, even if I feel this way, like I still have to put my business out there and still put a positive take on it. And sometimes it's okay to be like realistic and talk about it. But for the most part, you have to really show people like who you are and the positive and be a positive light. And sometimes I feel like people are positive lights when they're the most down.
That's true. Yeah, because you're actually relatable.
Yeah.
And you're showing that there's a real person behind your business.
Yes.
And I think that's so huge, especially in today's just social media market, because I feel like I saw a video on this morning actually, but I feel like everything is just kind of the same.
Yeah.
Like the same trends are happening, the same content style is happening, the same aesthetic is starting to happen.
Thank you.
And there's no originality anymore.
Okay. That could be a whole episode.
That can be a whole episode.
Struggling with Embry Group in that because like specifically for content, like we talked about this before with Embry Group and real estate and the content, but it's like I was the first to do these types of videos. Now everybody does it.
Yeah.
Then I did these types of videos. Now everybody does it. And I'm just like, I like to be original and the first to do something. Like I really strive to do that. So it's kind of like you work so hard and you build it up and you're first to do it and it's going great. And everybody else does it. And then it's like you have to start over again.
Yeah. You're constantly pivoting.
Yes.
It's like pivot.
Rosa Rachel. Literally, like I need that on like a poster. I'm going to hang that up in the new house. Pivot.
Pivot.
But it's exhausting to constantly have to pivot, like especially with marketing. It's like marketing's so creative and it takes so much soul and so much like brainstorming and so much time that when you do that all on the front end for others to then just do the same, but not put in the time and the soul and the originality, it sucks because now you got to do it all over again, but it's okay.
It sucks. And it's getting to a point now, and we're going to get in the weeds for a second, but it's getting to the point now where even just like normal head talking videos, like there's just so much out there right now. And so,
Content-wise,
if you've seen Refines, I've been slow at posting content because I don't want to just post to post.
Yeah. But at the same time, you got to post. So it's hard.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Yeah.
But anyways,
that could be a whole episode.
That could be a whole episode. But going back to imposter syndrome with businesses, putting yourself out there, being vulnerable, the authenticity in it. I think that's just the biggest thing is keeping that authenticity and staying true to yourself. And this is where sometimes on the days that you just feel like you're not doing anything or you don't want to do anything and you're just like, I just need to focus on my business, but I can't even do that right now because of X, Y, and Z. And it feels like the whole world's coming down on you.
Yes.
In that moment, that's where having a big enough why matters.
Yes.
And we did a whole episode on that.
1,000%. But I really like this topic because I just wanted to take the time to tell people that it's okay to feel like sometimes you can't do it.
Yeah.
And to feel like you're not worth it. Like that's going to happen. That's life. We are humans. Like it's okay to feel those things as long as we process them and come out of it. And like Michaela said, she's got to talk to someone about it. And that's what works for her. I just have to take my mindset out of it and focus on something else and then come back and then I refresh. But another thing that helps too is just looking at what you have accomplished and where you're at. Be like, wait, I did this.
going back to that good guy and bad guy, the devil
Yes.
and the angel, it's like
Yes.
you choosing. And when I say you
Yes.
actually have to choose to
Yes.
put the good in, because the
Yes.
bad is everywhere.
Yep.
It's easily consumable. But the
Yeah,
good
especially with
is
social media nowadays. It's
exactly.
really bad.
But the good is harder to find. And so it is
Yeah.
a choice. And so by pouring into yourself through reading books
Yes.
that will help grow your mind, help grow your business, help grow maybe your marketing mindset, whatever it might be. And then listening to audios, podcasts, watching a YouTube video, gaining a new skill, like those things are choices that you have to make and you have to put aside time for.
Yes.
But they're pouring into that good side.
Yes.
And I think that that is so valuable, especially when you have those days where you're just feeling like you're not enough.
Yep.
Because they're going to happen. It's inevitable.
They're always going to happen. And you just got to get through it and remember what you did and remember what you've accomplished and kind of go with the strategy. You know, be self-aware. She's self-aware of talking it out. I'm self-aware of getting out of work and going and focusing on something else. I also want to say something that I've started that you don't know about.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay.
I've been so bad at being on my phone and working 24/7 recently. Really bad. Always on it. Or I'll get in a rabbit hole on my phone. Really bad. I'll be like the comparison, it's been terrible. I'll be like, they're doing that. I'm like, crap, I need to be better. And I'll literally spend an hour just figuring out, okay, I'm going to do this, this, and this. It's been bad. And I have not been as present as I would like to be just in life in general. So I actually, to those of you that this may sound like, well, that's not that hard. To me, it's hard. From 6 to 8, I am not on my phone.
Oh.
At all.
At all.
At all. But it's helped me actually mentally have a full break because I know I can't look at it. And if I'm not on my phone, I can't know what's going on with work. And that's okay.
I love that. I'm proud of you.
Yes. It's
That's
been
awesome.
very hard.
I bet.
But I've had Maeve and me have had the best times with no phone. I think she's noticed it, which has made me feel good.
I'm sure.
Yeah, she's just had so much fun. I've been able to be way more present. Anyways, it's just been good. And it's helped me be more positive.
That's awesome.
Yes.
That's a good little, that's a good attainable habit
Yes.
that you can take an actionable step on.
Yes.
Like, okay, I'm going to put away my phone for 2 hours in the evening to spend intentional time with my daughter, and all the fires. If they can't wait 2 hours, then they'll find somebody else to help them.
Yes.
You know, like, I think that that's awesome. And I want to touch on the fact that that was something that was hard for you to start, but it's easy for you to maintain.
Yes.
It's not something that's so out of pocket. Like,
No.
all right, I'm going to start, or I'm not going to look at my phone from 6 to 10 p.m.
Yes.
Like, you did something that was actually attainable for your life.
Yeah, 6 to 8 is good.
So for everybody listening, when you go and set a goal or you go and try to create a new habit,
Yes.
keep it to something that you know you can actually work to, because it does take 21 days to create a habit. But I really think that we're getting so off topic, but I really do think that so often we create or try to create a habit
of where we want to get to in like a year versus a month.
Exactly.
Yes.
And understanding that baby steps are involved. So
baby steps are
that
very
is a
involved.
great example. So you said something about going and actually focusing on those wins, like looking back when you have imposter syndrome.
Yes.
Going back and actually looking at the wins that you've accomplished.
Yeah.
I think it's so important too. And y'all have heard us talk briefly about this, and we can probably do a whole episode on it, but actually celebrating the small victories, like the small victories, like setting a goal of like, I want to attain 5 new clients this month. And when you hit that, don't be like, just check it off on the books. It's like, no, go and get your nails done. Go get your hair done. Like, actually reward yourself for that.
Yes.
Because that is an accomplishment. You're moving your business forward, and you are growing.
To look forward to
Exactly.
as well.
Yeah.
Like, if I didn't have Disney planned, I'd be probably going more insane. But because I've had that planned for so long, it's like that's my reward, is that if I work hard now and get these things done, that I could truly relax when I go to Disney and I'll be good.
Yeah.
So I like the small things, like reward yourself for sure.
Yeah, definitely. And Disney's not a small thing.
That's my big one.
That's a big one. Like our big one is we're trying to go to Germany next year because Casey's entire mom's side of the family, his mom's from Germany.
Yeah.
So all of her family's over there. I've never met them. And his oma's over there. So we're trying to go to Germany next year.
Yeah. So that's like your big one.
But that's like my big one. But a lot of things have to happen before that.
Yes.
But like we have one of our smaller goals is to launch something brand new in 2025.
Yes.
And when we actually launch that, I'm going to freaking throw myself a party because it's going to be a huge accomplishment for us.
Yes.
And it'll lead me to that big goal.
I'm realizing I'm very bad at celebrating small things.
Yeah.
Very bad. I'm like, why would you go do that? I'm like, check.
I just have
such
to.
A big but that's funny. Maybe I'll try it. I'll try the small things. I'll be like, if I get this done, I'll go do this and see how that works for me.
Yeah.
I'm more of a like, I'll work to death all year and then this big trip, I'll get
it. Yeah, no, I get that. I mean, like it's even gotten to the point now to where it's like, all right, if I don't get this client project done by this date, like I don't get to go get my nails done.
Oh, like you're punishing yourself.
I am. And I like to have my nails done.
Oh my gosh.
My nails are a little grown out because yeah, we're struggling.
Yeah.
But my nails are grown out because I haven't sent off the final project yet. And so
I don't punish myself like that.
Oh, I do. I do. It's
so
just
funny.
me. But that kind of weaves into but
you
kind
notice
of
her nails are done, you know she's finished that project.
Yeah, and you know that something cool is about to hit our Instagram.
That is so funny. You literally are saying you punish yourself.
Yeah.
That's okay. Whatever works. Whatever works.
All right, we're going to answer some questions that y'all submitted. We haven't done this in a couple episodes, but we got a slew the other day. So we are about to answer some of those. Okay. So a lot of this is actually, a lot of our questions, are actually regarding podcast equipment and setting stuff up.
Cool. Let me just pull up my receipts here and I'll tell y'all. So the camera we use.
So it says equipment. What equipment do you use for home studio, camera and lighting? So I guess this is also not just for podcasts, but also just for creating content in general.
Okay.
Camera, lighting. Well, I know our cameras are Sony. We have 3 of them.
I know. I'm trying to look up the actual.
Like 1, 2.
Hold on.
3.
We have the same camera. I think that's important. So you have the same quality if you have different camera angles.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to pull exactly what the camera's called, but we do 3 cameras. So we do angle on me, angle on Michaela, and then angle on both of us. And we use all 3 of the same cameras. Okay, here's some equipment. Okay, so the mic we use, is it called Shure?
It's SHURE.
MV7. That's the mic that we use.
And we obviously have 2 of them.
Technically, we have 4.
Oh, yeah.
For guests.
Yeah.
And I would say learn from us on the mics because we first went with, I don't want to like call somebody out, it just wasn't for us, but we went with like blue mic. Is that what it was called?
It was a Yeti.
The Yeti blue or something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah,
it was a cheaper version.
It was, but not much cheaper to be honest. And we got it because it looked cool. We first went for aesthetic over quality. That was a mistake because that one kept echoing and we learned. Here it is. It's called the Sony Alpha ZV-E10.
And we have 3.
And we have 3. And they're not too bad in terms of price point. They're actually on sale right now for $699.
Ooh, there you go.
$100 off.
Black Friday shopping.
Yes. And then my favorite tripod.
Oh,
we have like 1,000.
We literally have like 5 different tripods to test out which ones we liked the best.
The one I like is the Sunpak SUNPAK Travel Light, just because it's easier to carry around. And then what are those called? Road mixers.
Yes, we have one, like it's a soundboard pretty much. It controls our mics, the audio, all that jazz. It also like everything that is recorded onto them. But yeah, it's a Roadmaster.
Yes.
Roadmaster. We have a large one and then a small one. The small one will eventually go with me to when I have my home podcast studio.
Yes. And I don't know what these lights are called. Sorry.
We have no idea. They're the balloony looking ones.
But if you're watching this on YouTube, Chandler will edit the name of these lights right here.
Okay.
For you as
there
you're watching
you go.
it.
There you go.
She picked them out.
And then equipment for getting content on the go. Honestly, I use my phone. I just use my phone. And then hold on, let me grab the tripod.
We both have the same tripod.
We both have the same one. It's from Amazon. I really just need to create an Amazon storefront and link it to Refined because we get so much. We get so many comments on this, but if you're watching on YouTube, you can see it. But it is just a little like portable tripod that extends all the way to the floor, splays out on the bottom so you have the stability, and then it has the phone attachment at the top. Love this thing. I have it in black. Sahara has it in white. I think it's like $25 on Amazon, and it is the best tripod you can ever buy.
We don't have like mobile.
We have
ring
no
lights,
mics. Nothing like that.
Just make it easy. Make it simple. Which you don't want to make like on the go content too complicated.
No. And I mean, I don't even know if that's wrong. I've seen the little DJ. I'm totally butchering that. It's a company, but they have like the little clip-on mics right here.
Yeah, I've seen more people use those.
Yeah, and the little tiny fuzzy mic.
Yeah, I really want one of those.
I do too. But yeah, no, we keep it super simple. Little tripod, phone. That's it. Yep. That's content on the go. All right. And then this is another one just to end it all out. Yeah, podcast equipment that's necessary to start.
I'm not a necessary person.
No, Sahara's I'm going to do it all the way kind of person.
I mean, if it's just you and no co-host, you could really do one camera.
Yeah.
One tripod. And then you could have a mic and no soundboard because you could plug your mic up to your computer and use a program on your computer. But I just don't think that.
And you can have like a ring light if you wanted to, just like a normal ring light.
Yeah. Ring lights you can get super, super cheap if you need light. Use a ring light, one camera, and then one mic, no soundboard, no. If you have a good office with lots of natural light, you may not even need that. But I just think that.
But you would probably still be investing around $900 to $1,000 into it.
Yeah. I feel like a podcast, the most important thing is good quality mics.
Yeah.
So I feel like you just have to spend it on that. But there's a lot of people who use their laptops and Zoom and just have a good mic. You could try that, and that would save you a lot of money if you really just want to start something but don't have the money to spend. But a good quality mic and then just a computer, you could technically do it.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's a good way to end it.
Yep.
For sure.
All right. Well, thanks for listening, and we hope you all have a great Monday.
Yeah. Hope you guys have a great Monday. And if you are feeling stuck in the cycle of imposter syndrome, get outside, call a friend who knows how to speak positively into your life. Do something that gives you life and gives you fuel.
Yes.
And let us know if this episode was helpful for you by subscribing to us on YouTube, DMing us on Instagram. We'd love to hear from you. And have a great Monday.
Have a great Monday.